just a 2-second brain, so they think it's beautiful. Serious miscommunication. So very unrealistic memory, and it's just more crap. Life is hell, then you die, right? So, and so people, and they're constantly condemning and blaming and claiming and making, and that's the majority of humanity. And then you get to a place in your evolutionary process where you start realizing and recognizing that this is repeating. There's a common thread here. But you still don't like it, and you still blame it, and you still, you still try to fix it from the outside. It's like somebody saying, my shirt is somehow stained, and they're looking in a mirror, and so they take a rag and they wipe it on the mirror, trying to take the stain out, the reflection. And that's like trying to fix something by me saying, stop talking to me that way. Please don't, basically, but what it is that I'm trying to change it in the mirror of my reflection. When you finally come into the grips of, this is me, what happens to you happens through you, this is me, is very depressing. So you have to go through that, no it's not, yes it is, no it's not, yes it is, reaction to the depression. Because first you can't figure out any way of overcoming the depression, and so then you think, well, the great way of overcoming the depression is to entertain my way through it, and that way I can just disclaim it. But it is still the flashlight, so to speak, in the metaphor, shining and illuminating what appears to be. And you say, well, let me just dim the flashlight a little bit. I'm going to stop going to yoga class because that's really disrupting my life. Right? I mean, I've been sitting on this bench now for like 45 years, and 45 years is just an illusion of time, right? I mean, it's got days, weeks, months, years, and decades, but it's just an illusion of time. And I'll bump into people that I haven't seen in 30 years, that were in class 30 years ago, and they'll go, so what's new? And I'll say, absolutely nothing. Are you still at that Yoga West? Yep. Really? Because they've been entertaining themselves through the moment, which never changes, except it's just a new moment with the flashlight just shining on a different tree. But they're still stuck in the same forest. So the key here is to take complete ownership of the entire system and begin to comprehend what it means to charge your batteries, to shine a brighter light, to not react to the negative, but to comprehend it's balanced by the positive, and to spend as much time in that state of equilibrium where you can drop your consciousness into your heart and truly begin to experience the experience. And that is going to be the theme also of Thanksgiving morning's class, which is titled The Power of Gratitude. Because gratitude is when you drop into the heart brain and you embrace every detail of the recipe, and then it tastes delicious, because there is within every single moment that wonderfully delicious reality known as I'm alive, I exist. My foot is stuck in a hole. Nevertheless, I exist. I'm careening towards the ground because I just tripped over a log, and in the process, I exist. I've just hit the ground, and It's knocked the wind out of me. I exist. And I exist for the sake of experiencing existence. And that was the answer that I got when I was driving down La Cienega. Yogi Bhajan to my right, and I asked him, why? And he said, why what? And I said, why everything? And he looked at me, and he said, really? And I said, really? And he said, because God got bored. Being an infinite void forever ends up a bit boring, he said. And in that boredom, existence existed. In order for a reflection of the existence to be appreciated. And then there was no boredom. There was just a whole lot of problems to overcome. And when you're having to overcome problems, it's like the other joke. It's hard to remember you came to drain the swamp when you're up to your neck in alligators. Ever been up to your neck in alligators? Yeah, we all have. And when we're up to our neck in alligators, we have to go, these are my alligators. Let me name them. Let me put bows on them. Let me enjoy them. Because this is my moment now. The moment I name them, put bows on them, start to enjoy them, they start to dance with me. And when they start to dance with me, I'm no longer feeling threatened. And when I'm no longer feeling threatened, I begin to open up. My diaphragm relaxes. The heat from my liver reaches my heart. The light that I'm now shining out into the forest begins to display, my goodness, there's fairies in this forest, twinkling, asking me, what is your wish? What is your desire? How can I assist you? But in order for me to get to that level of awareness, I have to pass through all of the subordinate levels. It's like the old castle. What did the castle have it surrounded by? A moat. So I have to get through the moat of my consistent, insistent, repetitive pattern. A black man said on TV last night, we've made a lot of progress. Speak for yourself, I thought, as the other part of the TV was showing a city in flames. And a family, one of multiple families of people of color who have lost someone to police brutality. This is a collective. We have all come to earth to solve that issue, because this is a collective condition of our collective consciousness. We are all violent. Some of us have just disciplined that violence, but for us to think it's out there. Be the change you want to see, said the Buddha, who then was echoed by Gandhi. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans, said Ferlinghetti, echoed by John Lennon. Now, we as our own beings must take ownership of the whole thing. And right now, there is a massive amount of collective consciousness here to cleanse its debris. I once asked Yogi Bhajan as I was driving him what was happening with so much population explosion on this planet. He said neighbors had lost their homes. Neighboring planets have been demolished. And this is the place where